This is Steph here on Voices in the Valley, and if you are just tuning in, you have joined us for the second half of our show where student hosts interview our guests. We've had the privilege today of having Will join us for the entire show, so we're glad to have you doing that, Will. In the second half of the show, we're going to really enjoy some of the music that you have written and created, and so, Will, I'm going to turn it over to you to ask David some questions and get him to play some music.
All right. Earlier in the first half of the interview, you talked about how you first started out as a bass guitar player.
Correct.
Why bass?
A friend of my mother's was a bass player, and he just taught me some songs. When I was a little kid, like how do you play this song?
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, let me show you. And
So you didn't really have a formal guitar education per se. You didn't have any teachers.
no, I'm pretty much self-taught. I mean, I've had a few lessons later, much after all that, but for the most part, no, I haven't had any. I never was disciplined with any form of lessons on guitar or bass, for that matter. I just loved it enough to just keep working at it.
So, starting there and moving on to acoustic, what did you find? What did you find that you could do with the acoustic that you couldn't with the bass? Artistically speaking.
Well, just a lot more opportunity for expression, especially playing solo, because the guitar, especially acoustic guitar, kind of becomes your band, where the bass, you're one little part of it. But here you're playing stuff where you're playing the bass part, you're playing the melody. If you're kind of hitting the guitar at all, you're being the percussion. I like the whole, just feels more connected, like physically, like more human than like putting this thing in between you and the music. It's more coming straight from, feels more connected to the heart or something. I don't know. It's just that's probably a psychological thing. But needless to say, bass is awesome.
Talking about making music, composing it. How do you sit down and write music? I mean, what is usually kind of the thought process?
It's kind of like anything, like being a writer. You just got to sit down and put in the time, even if you don't feel like it. So you just sit down and you start wandering and you just start playing and see where it goes. And for me, a lot of times, I might get some melody in my head that just drops from the heavens, and then that's really awesome. But that's less common than just having to put in the work and playing something, trying to basically playing something that inspires yourself, and then rolling with it. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it works.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you chase that down for sometimes it's happens fast. Otherwise, you're working on that thing for like a year.
What is your favorite song to play?
That varies. It's like what's your favorite food to eat?
True.
It's like it's whatever you're in the mood for. So but I have a couple favorites here and there that I guess I go back to.
Sure. Would you be willing to play us one?
Sure. This one's called Night Driving.
That is so beautiful.
It's
Thank you
always
so
nice.
much. Thank you.
I just want you to keep playing, which is my question for you. We talked about what gigs you have coming up in the first segment of the show, but tell me more about how we can get this wonderful CD, 1000 Mile Search.
Well, you can go to davidharlandmusic.com and buy it on there. And it's
Okay.
also on iTunes, all the digital outlets. Really findable. Yeah.
So,
And at davidharlandmusic.com, you can find out about any upcoming performances and
okay.
anything else you might want to know.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much, David, for joining us. And thank you, Will, for leading the interview here on the second half of the show.
Happy to be
I
here.
wish that we could listen to this music over and over and over again. And if you are listening to the radio show right now, you probably are only hearing snippets of it. So I do recommend and suggest that you do check out the Voices in the Valley YouTube channel in order to hear the full songs that David has played. And definitely go onto his website and check out the music. So thanks for joining us so much here today on in the Valley. Join us every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on KLBB 1220. And find us online at voicesinthevalley.us. I think technically it's voicesinthevalley.us, but I kind of like voicesinthevalley.us a little bit better. Sounds so encompassing and warm and friendly, right?
It's unifying.
It's unifying. I love that. Exactly. .us. And again, David, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, guys.